What kind of a common resource is biological risk, and how do we prioritize what to pay attention to in this broad landscape? This is what I'm going to be talking about for the next 5 minutes. I'm going to be arguing for a heuristic that I think is really clarifying in the space of biological risk, which is the digital to physical frontier. But before I continue, just a brief introduction. My name is Max Langenkamp, and I lead the hardware and policy research at SecureDNA. And here's a picture of one of my mentors, Ron Rivest, who some of you may recognize for his role in public key cryptography. Also, a brief note on SecureDNA is SecureDNA is a nonprofit that provides a free and privacy-preserving, verifiably up-to-date DNA screening system. So if you're someone like Twist, someone who provides DNA to people, we have a tool where you can see if your customers are trying to order smallpox or influenza. But back to a more general question about what we're doing here. I like this graph, which is from Michael Nielsen essay, to generally consider the role that technologies play in enhancing abilities and enabling harms. The rough thing that I see, the mandate for someone like me is to move the trajectory of possible harm up, to make it so that technology is helpful without threatening our civilization as a whole. Now, when it comes to biosecurity, there are a lot of things that you can be concerned about. In addition to the whole world of spillover of natural cause pandemics, if you do some of the threat modeling, the most worrying things from my perspective are the deliberate misuse cases. So this can come from actors that are at the nation state level, but also at the group level and even in the individual and potentially autonomous agent level. Here's some examples of scenarios that people have worried about. Maybe your new LLMs can help a disgruntled grad student make a bioweapon. Maybe there's a new biological design tool where you can make a custom pathogen. And here's some other things too, some other examples that people have worried about. But the question that I want to pose is, even as there's so many of these different scenarios, how do we prioritize and make sense of what to do in this space? How do we defend against deliberate misuse? For me, one of the more helpful clarifying things is to remember that at some stage, when you're trying to synthesize something new, there has to be a moment when it goes from bits to atoms. There's a digital to physical interface. And so among all of these more theoretical thought experiments of, can your AI make like a designer pathogen, it's often the more mundane things that have lower hanging fruit. So SecureDNA, for instance, focuses on DNA screening, which is on the more technical end. Given a string of ACs, Gs, and Ts, can you tell that has something dangerous? But I think some of the lowest hanging fruit is actually things like better KYC for DNA orders. It's actually a fact that there is no standardized way to order DNA from a DNA synthesis provider. Everyone kind of does it ad hoc in their own way. And another, low-hanging fruit is physical security for labs. So I have about a minute left. The thing that I'll plug and I'll emphasize is that the DNA screening part is, I wouldn't say it's a solved problem, but there's been huge progress. So there's many different, in addition to SecureDNA, there's people like ACLID or the Common Mechanism from NTI that have put a ton of effort into developing good screening tools. Right now, we're missing something pretty mundane, which is better tools for identifying customers and knowing who has permissions. And there's a lot of low-hanging fruit on the coordination front. It's kind of a social problem right now. So if you're interested in hearing more about this and supporting SecureDNA, you can feel free to talk to me, or I should have put my email up, but maxlangenkamp@securedna.org is my email. But thank you everyone.